Welcome to our question and answer session. This is the ninth in our series of Q&A sessions, of webinars, for our My Choices programme. These are a series of webinars that CSW Group is offering to young people in Devon and Cornwall, and they are open to all young people, both in mainstream education and also who are home educated. So today we're offering a Q&A session with some local employers and a training provider. They will be asked questions by one of our managers, David Roe, and our four panellists are James Deacon, who is a senior geotechnical engineer with Fugro, Roxana Panaite, who is an EMEA support manager with Dell, Morven MacLean, who is a business development and employer engagement coordinator with Exeter College, and finally Danny Smith, an HR advisor for Cornwall Council. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A box and we'll deal with them at the end. So without further ado, I will hand you over to my colleague, David.
Thanks, Ollie. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. And yeah, thanks to our four panellists for agreeing to take part as well. If I could ask James to, you've unmuted yourself. Thank you very much. Way ahead of me. Okay, so I'm going to ask one question each to four panellists, and then after that, depending on how much time we've got, we'll ask some follow-up questions, and for those attending, just feel free to pop questions into the chat box. Okay, so, and we've got 20 minutes, I think I said that. So, James, without any further ado, let's crack on. So one question we've had is, I have never had any work experience. What can I do to help myself get a job?
Okay, so well, no work experience doesn't necessarily mean you can't get a job. What I would sort of recommend or suggest is to try and get some sort of work experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be long duration. 2 weeks is a good enough amount. If you've got a sort of job area, sector, industry in mind, you can try and find a company that will offer some sort of work experience. More will than you think. So don't be afraid to just drop them an email and just offer your time for 2 weeks really. If they want you for a bit longer, then they'll reply and organise that, set that up. But there's also a lot more transferable skills that you might think. So my job experience before I started with Fugro was career driving and pub work. I don't do much driving apart from going to work, and I do no pub work. So it hasn't particularly stopped me from getting a job in geology and engineering geology. So yeah, there are a lot more transferable skills than you might think. So don't be afraid to go for anything really. Get yourself out there. Any experience is better than no experience at the end of the day. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for that. Okay, so next question to Roxana. What skills and behaviour do you expect of young employees?
Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. So yeah, when it comes to skills and behaviour, I guess it's really a matter of skills and behavior when you decide to apply for a job, and then once you applied and you got the job, what do we expect from the young employees? I've done a lot of interviews and a lot of recruitment when I've started my career in IT. I'm working in IT for the last 10 years. I actually graduated as a chemical engineer, and then chemical engineer and with foreign languages. And then because it wasn't so successful back in my country to get a job as a chemical engineer, I decided to approach the IT world, not having any type of experience, just like a fresh graduate, obviously doing all the classes and all the courses that I've done in IT. So that was all my exposure. My foreign languages, so I used my English and my Spanish. My native language is Romanian. So in all my career in interviewing and having young employees coming on board, I always appreciated the seriosity, them being prepared from the moment they come to the interview, being prepared as in doing some research about the job itself, about the company, seeing a bit about that, like young passion that this is my first job. Why did you choose this company, or why did you apply for this job? Basically, to see a bit, again, like some tests and some like role play sometimes for them to get a grasp on what that job means. And here I'm referring to the IT sector. But basically, be prepared to show your strengths, to tell us what you're good at, what you're very good at. If you don't have any previous work experience, decide on, I don't know, top 3 to 5 things that you really liked in college, or things that you really know you are good at, and then you can start from there to build on those skills. It's hard to give like a perfect recipe, but there are like some points to follow. A lot of research online, maybe LinkedIn or any other tools about similar jobs that you think you want to apply to, about similar companies. Check employee like stories, or because now being able to search online, it's so much better than, for example, it was 10 or 15 years ago when I applied for my first job. We're looking for, like, I don't know, to see, like I said, a very good documented CV that reflects, again, all your strengths and previous work that you've done, even what you were passionate about in college, and why do you like to pursue that way. Yeah, I guess in big lines, that would be it.
Thank you. That's really interesting what you're saying about how your career path, because I think a lot of people would find that, myself included, I did a journalism degree, and that's not what I do now, because that's not how life seems to work these days. Is you might set off on a path, but be prepared for it to kind of go somewhere else, because it may well do. I don't know if that's the experience of everyone else on the webinar. And also, I think about if you're a school leaver, then making sure you kind of talk about, are you in any clubs? Have you led teams? Have you, there's probably lots of stuff that you're doing there that maybe you don't think would be relevant on a CV, but it really is. So yeah, that's my my thoughts on that. So yeah, thanks, Roxana. That's really really interesting. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
So moving across to Danny then. So how do employers view a lack of qualifications?
Yeah, so I think it's building on from what Roxana said, really. There are some jobs that, yes, you do have to have qualification for, let's face it, because there are some areas of industry that, because of health and safety or legislation, that you do have to have qualifications. But actually, things have changed, things have evolved. A lot of employers are now looking for more along the lines of behaviours, because we recognise that things like apprenticeships, traineeships, T-levels, you can teach people knowledge, you can develop people's skills over time, but the behaviours are where people's passions are. And you do see that a lot of adverts that go out is, we want passionate and enthusiastic people. And I often find myself saying, but what does that mean? What do employers want? How do you convert that for someone to understand it? And I think one of the best tools that I've ever been shown or used is, it's called Taproot, and it's a free tool that you can just go onto Google and search. If you type in Taproot core values assessment, you can identify what your core values are. You can then have a look at what the organisation is that you want to apply to work at, have a look at what their mission is, have a look at what their values are, and look at how you can align what you care about and what that organisation cares about, because that's where you're going to get that drive. That's where you're going to find somewhere that you can really find that sense of fulfilment, and you can put your heart and soul into it, because that's what employers are looking for. They're looking for talent that they can progress, they can retain, they can develop, they can become the future leaders of the organisation. And I think there are people that, yes, they want to find a job, and it is a job that's 9 till 5 and they can switch off, but there's no reason that you can't do that with the things that you love and you put your heart into. It's trying to find something that works for you as well as the organisation, because you don't want to turn up to somewhere for the rest of your life every day going, I don't like this, and the organisation doesn't want that either. That's where the performance related issues comes from. So don't let the fact that you've got a lack of qualifications put you off. Just look at how you can help that organisation achieve what it is they're trying to say they want to achieve. How is what you've got, how is what's in your heart going to align to that company's vision? How will you drive it forward?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's really good. Thanks, Danny.
yeah.
And so the website you mentioned, was it Taproot, as in TAPROOT?
Yeah, if you just type in Taproot Core Values Assessment, like I said, it's totally free. There's several different core values assessments you can get, but I find that the Taproot one's just really simple because it gives you different steps. There's about 50 different values on it, and you basically get the steps to narrow it down to 5.
Okay,
Which is
brilliant.
what, you know, most organisations have got between 3 and 7 values.
Right.
But that's where you can really focus and bring in some of the behaviours that Roxana said about, things like working together, taking personal responsibility, being resourceful, being motivated. Like, if you care about what you're going to be working towards because you know that it aligns to your values, and that's where your motivation is going to come from, because you're going to turn up every day to work going, yes, this is what I want to do because I'm standing for what I believe in, or what's...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I'll have a look at that. I've not heard of that one before.
Yeah.
And sort of slightly related, but as an aside, I've done a few recruitment drives, and what as a plea really to anyone applying for a job where it lists essential and desirable criteria, use those as your headings and then say how you meet them, because I've seen too many times where people write kind of their sort of life story, if you like, and then they expect you as the person looking at their application to pick out the bits that then sort of meet the essential or desirable criteria, and that's really time consuming and not the best way to present your kind of sort of personal statement in your application. So that's just a plea from me.
Yeah, like, even so there's a lot of old profiles that will strip out, and it'll say next to each criteria interview or assessment, and this is competency based recruitment, we call it in HR.
Yeah.
If it says interview next to it, don't include that in your application form, because you're not going to be shortlisted against it. It makes no sense. And I don't think people are sometimes taught that. What you really want to do is, when you look at a role profile or you look at the job description, where it says essential or desirable, if it says application form next to it, that's absolutely what the shortlisting panel's looking for. That's where you'll get your most marks from. So focus on that completely. And then you also know how to prepare for your interview, because when you get to your interview, you've already seen what it says you're going to be asked to interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
That might be helpful too.
No, that's really helpful. Thank you. And yeah, just use them as your headings, and they're like questions. Answer those questions essentially. So anyway, thank you for that. That's really good. Thank you, Morven. So moving on to you then. So question for you is: I have no formal qualifications. Can I still join a course in a college or with a training provider?
Hi everybody. Yes, David, thanks for the question. And yes, that's not a problem. I work myself within sort of the apprenticeship team at Exeter College. So again, in relation to kind of apprenticeships as well, if you haven't got any formal qualifications, there is a sort of set level that you have to achieve, usually grades C or 4 or above in GCSE English and Maths to do the apprenticeship. But if you haven't got that, then we've got lots of programs that we can follow and put you on to start off with, and the same kind of around the college. I think it follows on nicely from what everyone's kind of said as well, that a lot of the employers who are employing on apprenticeship programs are really looking for exactly what Roxanne and James and Danny have said. It's that passion, it's that drive, it's that ability to communicate why you want to do a specific course or why you want to do a specific apprenticeship program that they're really looking for. The qualification side of it, we can easily pick up on that. We're running what we call pre-apprenticeship programs at the moment, and those are for people who perhaps need some additional support with their English and Maths, or need some employability skills like you've spoken about, creation of CVs, covering letters, but they also allow you to do a bit of work experience, I know which James mentioned, so it's kind of combining all of those 3 things together then to get you sort of work ready for either an apprenticeship or a full-time program or a full-time course. So there's lots of different opportunities and programs that we have, not just for apprenticeships, but within the college, that you can do without any kind of formal qualifications. And the thing that I would say about that is just really, it's just really important to not think that you've got any barriers. Just come and talk to us. You know, we've got the advice team, we've got the progressions team, us and the apprenticeship team, so we can all talk quite well around all the different kind of courses. So even if you're not thinking of coming to Exeter College, by all means, you know, just give, you know, we'll have a chat with you about different progression routes and courses and other things that you can do, even if it's Prince's Trust and things like that, that you can go on to help to build all of those employability skills. even without the
Fantastic.
formal qualifications. Because I think, as you sort of mentioned, you can always teach people the knowledge, which is the important thing, and we can always find routes and courses that you can go on, but it's that passion and that drive that everyone's really looking for, that everyone's mentioned, definitely.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thanks, Morven. And as a follow-up question, and others may be able to help with this as well. I mean, with COVID-19, my understanding was that the number of apprenticeships had dropped off a bit from where they were before COVID. So is that the case?
We not as it sort of obviously as it first sort of started, people were really kind of cautious around it. But we're finding that the thing that's really limiting our numbers is classroom sizes and obviously social distancing from everybody. So we've had to cut our classroom sizes a little bit because to make sure it's safe for everybody to come along. But that's probably meant that we maybe then will have more courses starting in mid-year after Christmas.
Okay.
Rather than September, we've just kind of spaced out the recruitment maybe across the year. I think we've got today about 110 vacancies still live on the college website. Wow. So there's still lots of people looking. I think it's kind of starting, hopefully, as long as we don't get a second wave, starting to settle a little bit. Employers are now kind of finding what they sort of need and how they can work. So it's not the only limiting thing we found actually is just as I say, the classroom sizes and the social distancing, but the vacancies are still out there, definitely.
Right, okay. And apprenticeships is something that you can start throughout the year. It's not necessarily, it starts at the beginning of the academic year and then that's it. Yeah, there's no other opportunities.
No, we can usually start, you may start with the employer first and then join the next available college course. So there may be a little bit of a gap, but there's work that we can set you and you can have visits in the workplace. Before the actual college starts. And again, the pre-apprenticeship programs that I mentioned, they're kind of running all year round, so you can be working towards your maths and English, getting some work experience, and then be ready then to join onto the college course itself. So it's not like some of the full-time courses shut their doors in September. We're open all year.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for that. No, it's really really interesting and helpful. Thank you. And I guess a question to everyone on the panel. We talked about the number of apprenticeships, but the job market as a whole, are there less jobs, more jobs, the same, certain industries that are recruiting more people, or what's the kind of the job market like? Do you guys have any sort of insights on that at all? Roxana, I don't know if you've got any thoughts.
I would say for us, I mean, working in IT, to be honest, this was a major test to confirm that we can do this job again, like from the convenience of our homes and not to be able to be in the office. I work part of a global team, so covers the whole world from India to Australia to US. Everyone works from home. Everyone does the job tremendously. It's been a huge effort from everyone. We do have, even this year, I'm not sure about the internship, if we have any roles in Exeter, but we do have new hiring, again, on a different level, on a more senior level. So that didn't stop us. We work at the Science Park. Science Park has a lot of new startups, businesses, again, IT and non-IT, and they do hire as well. So feel free to give it a search on the Science Park in Exeter if you're local, if you're around, because they do have lots of opportunities. They do have apprenticeship and they do have internship as well. So I wouldn't say it's a complete clash. Maybe it's not as it was last year at the same time, but it's not that bad as we thought it will be in terms of hiring.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. James, have you got any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Roxana there. I mean, from the construction side of things, High Speed 2 has pretty much kept the whole kind of construction industry afloat. So that will see several hundreds of jobs being created over the next 6 months. Some of those will be sort of entry level as well, sort of starting off with labouring and enabling works, things like that. So there's opportunity there if people are interested.
Yeah.
Certainly keeping Fugro busy, onshore anyway. We have seen a decline in the oil and gas side. That's kind of our biggest sort of area of the industry that's dropped off. But
yeah. Do you see opportunities for the kind of green technology for Fugro?
Yeah, so our marine division is very, very busy with offshore wind farms. And those in themselves have plenty of job opportunities as well. anyone with a passion or interest in electronics, maintenance and mechanical engineering. Each turbine has a lot of moving parts, and Dogger Bank, which is the largest one, is going to have 150 odd turbines.
Oh wow!
So yeah, there's plenty of work out there in that area. Yeah, I'd say construction industry and sort of energy. We're working on Hinckley at the moment as well. So that's
okay. Yeah, which is obviously South West. So that's
yeah. I mean, if anyone local can get a job with Hinckley, HPC, which is a company, are building one in Sizewell, which is in Sussex.
Okay.
We're doing the initial kind of early phase of ground investigation for that currently. So I mean, there's get your foot in the door with Hinckley local, and then move cross country for the next 10 years and build that one. So yeah, I'd say construction's been largely unaffected by COVID, and the government tend to throw lots of money at infrastructure during a financially difficult time. So
yeah,
we're kind of expecting the next couple of years to be quite busy because bring on a lot of construction in infrastructure schemes.
That's great. Excellent. Good stuff. Thanks, James. And Danny, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, things are different, let's be honest, but I think that's actually one of the gifts of COVID, that we have started realising that things have to be done differently. It's not just about it being the employer saying who we want to work for us. It's now started taking into account actually what do individuals need from us, what do they want from us, and it's very much become a two-way process. One of the things we've started doing, because we recruit apprentices 6 times throughout the year, things like a business administration apprenticeship, we used to just put out lots of different adverts, and actually working for the council, we've got nearly 5,800 employees. And when you've been in industry for so long, people go, I don't know what you're talking about. I want to come and work for you because I understand that this is what I care about and I want to make a difference, but I don't know all these different terminologies. How can we remove the jargon? So what we have been working on with some of our entry level qualifications is advertising one position. We do a bit like a recruitment day where everyone comes into that day, does some sort of assessment to identify, are they ready for employment and appointable? If they're not, what support can we give them, whether it's redirect to work experience, traineeships, T-levels, that sort of thing. But anyone that is employment ready for those entry level qualifications and they are appointable, we will put them in a bit like a talent pool, and for up to 3 months we will match them to vacancies that come up for business administration. And it means that people aren't having to keep applying for the same role again and again. They are having to wait for those release dates.
Because it takes a long time, doesn't it, to fill out an application? I mean, it can be really time consuming. When you don't even get an interview, it can be quite demoralising. You sort of think, well, why did I bother? So that's a really good scheme. That's brilliant. Yeah, that's really good. Cool, thank you. Morven, have you got anything to add? I'm just conscious we're sort of gone over time, so we'll just we'll wrap up. But if you've got anything to add, please feel free.
I don't think so. No, I think the guys just have covered it really well. Yeah, especially as what Danny was saying, as you know, the new way of thinking around COVID and the sort of differences that employers have to take into account of, you know, what people want from them as well, which has made us sort of keep on our toes as well and have to make sure that we can provide that. So yeah, no, apart from that, no.
That's great. I guess geography is less of a barrier because before you may think, okay, a certain industry you have to live in, I don't know, London, for example, but now with the technology and team, you know, sort of, you know, Zoom and all that sort of stuff, actually, you know, you could do a job that it could have been based in London in Cornwall, for example, or, you know, as long as you've got a good internet connection, then, you know, that does open up a lot of opportunities, which I think is, you know, really. So yeah, brilliant. Wow. So that's almost 2:25 that time went really quickly. Thank you everyone so much for your time. It's been really interesting and really useful. And thank you again for your time. Enjoy your weekends.
Thank you for having us. Have
Thank
a good
you.
weekend.
Take care.
Bye. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much to all of you. So if anybody else watching would like to join any of our future webinars, we are running all of these on a weekly basis. for this week and for the next 2. And our next one will be on Monday the 21st of September at 2 p.m. and it's going to be entitled All About Me, My Skills and Personal Qualities. So please come to that one if you could make it. And once again, thanks to all of our panelists and thanks for attending. Bye-bye.